Hi guys, welcome back to Repay It Up, where we're budgeting our homestead lifestyle. If this is content that you've been enjoying seeing and following along with, please hit that subscribe button and the like button for this video. Today, I'm going to go over our yearly budget for 2024 and how we do that, having a variable income with making a fixed budget. So, a little backstory: when my husband and I first got married, we both were working and we both worked variable incomes, and we had debt that we were paying off, and it really helped getting down to the bare minimum of what we needed to live off of, and then chucking everything else towards debt. And we kind of kept that same formula as we progressed in our financial and married life. And I've always been a spreadsheet girl, so I've always loved Excel and formulas and all that kind of stuff. So we have over the years developed this system that really works for us. So we don't deal with cash. We do a little bit of cash for our allowances, but that's it. Everything else we put on a credit card. So as we spend money on gas or groceries or even our bills, they come out on a credit card. And then every paycheck we pay that credit card off. So we only carry a balance for 2 weeks. So I consider ourselves not beginning budgeters. We don't have debt we're trying to work off. We have been doing the same kind of budgeting system for several years now. I consider ourselves more intermediate budgeters. We can handle credit cards, use them for the points, not be in debt. But I don't consider ourselves advanced, where we don't have extra income or anything like that to invest or do crazy things with. So we're I feel like we're in the middle. We're not beginners, but we're not advanced either. So I want to go over with you how we determine what our monthly budget is and how it doesn't change every month, even though our income changes. So what we do is we have looked back and we keep records. And if it's the first time doing this, you can always go back to your bank statement, check those out, get those records, always there as far as how much money you have coming in. And what we do is we look at what is the minimum amount. If we look back and say what was the lowest paycheck we ever got, what's the minimum amount that we have coming in, and we budget based on that. So we said if this was a minimum month where we had the bare basic minimum amount of money coming in, what do we need to pay and what can we do with that money? So that's where our budget comes in. So for us, our minimum bare amount that comes in is we budget for $3,300. Now that will pay for our house, all of our fixed expenses, and our variable expenses, and then have a little bit left over for sinking funds and savings. Then, if we have extra above and beyond that $3,300, then we put more into savings, we put more into sinking funds, or wherever we need it. So that's how we budget this. We look at over the last year what changed, what didn't change. So this year, changing from 2023 to 2024, we've added a few more fixed expenses. 2023, these were expenses that we throughout the year added on and off, and we decided at the end of the year here we want to make these permanent part of our budget. So we had to go in and put them in and account for those in our monthly budget, instead of having them as an on-again, off-again sinking fund. So the new things are we're adding permanently Netflix, Disney Plus, and Spotify. We also are allotting for $20 for Corbin's allowance. Now, Corbin had been doing an allowance before, but we would just take it out of our allowance because we weren't sure how consistent he was going to be with doing his chores and earning his allowance. So after several months of doing this, we've seen consistently how much he is earning, and so we decided we can now put this in our budget and make it a permanent line item of $20 a month. And we've also decided if one of the months he decides he doesn't want to do his chores or his allowance, then we're going to take that extra money that he didn't earn, set it aside, and at the end of the year it's going to go into his college fund. So that's how we're going to deal with that excess cash. So we'll see that at the end of the year. So I have here tabs for every month, and every month looks exactly the same. The only things that will change will be my actual and our actual income. On the side here, I keep track of our expenses for that month. So this is my expense tracker sheet. I keep it on the same page with that month. I put the date in that we spent the money, the amount, the category, whether it was a fixed expense, a bill, a debt, a variable, or a savings, and the description. Was it groceries at Walmart? Was it gas? Was it the electricity bill? Then at the end of the year, I calculate all this up. So I have my budgeted for if we spent $3,300 every month, this is what it would be, and then I have my actual. Again, loving Excel, and I just put formulas in, so I don't have to calculate any of these numbers up. Excel does it for me. Then I also have a percentage column, so I can see how much of our money are we spending on debt or on fixed expenses. Is it 25%, 30%, 50%, checking and seeing that, making sure we're not spending too much on a lavish lifestyle and not actually saving and doing things that we want to with our money. And so then I have all those formulas and all that stuff help me calculate up all the money that comes in versus all the money that comes out and how much I'm left over at the end of the year. I also like to, every 2 weeks when we pay off the credit cards, see, how is my bank account balancing with the spreadsheet? And my buffer here should always be at least 0 or positive. It should never be negative. Then I keep track over here of our savings account. This mainly account is for our emergency fund. So it should not see anything but a little bit of interest come in every month. And so I usually don't show you guys this because it's boring. Nothing happens with it. It's just our emergency fund. But if I need to track using that money for an emergency or something that comes out, I can then track that here. Of course, we have our sinking fund page. So our first set of categories in blue at the top here are our annual sinking funds. They have a fixed amount that is due on a specific date, or mostly. Water is the only exception to that. Water is something that is paid every 2 or 3 months. It's not every month, so I have it in this, but it has to be paid. So it's my number one priority of my annual fund. Then I have a goal for each of these. Now with my annual fund, this should be pretty much spot on, maybe within a couple of dollars. It should not be crazy over. Then I have this green line where I put in how much I actually put into that category. So when I go in and I put $125 in for our car tax, I will then put that money here. Then when I spend it, it will come out of the expenses line, and we'll scroll down and I'll have my balance line where I can say, I put 125 in, I spend 125, my balance is 0. And that's where I balance out. Then we have our sinking fund categories that are variable. I have a goal for them, but it may go over, it may be under this goal. This is kind of where I see over the years, what are we averaging in that category to give me an idea of how much I should be spending in that category throughout the year. Money will come in, money will come out. These are usually the biggest, where you see the most expenses coming down and the biggest categories for us. Then I have other categories here. So these are things that randomly came up that I did not plan for, I did not know about, and or like if we get money from our birthdays or Christmas, and I want to keep that money and track it separately, I can then put it here, create a whole line item category for it. You'll see this line item farm. This is my goal, my budget is for our farm projects. Each year I have certain projects that I would like to accomplish here on the farm to build up our homestead. And so this year I'm giving myself a budget of $3,000. Hopefully I won't spend more than that, but that's my budget for that. Then, last thing here for 2024 is our savings goal. We have 2 vehicles that are 20 years old. They're getting lots of problems on them, and we're trying to save up for a new vehicle. So this year, my goal amount is to save $5,000 towards the vehicle. We also do save through a rental property that we have. Any profits that come from that also go into the savings, but I don't track that here because that is a separate thing that we have, and this, I want to see how much out of our personal finances are we able to contribute. So this is my goal. Hopefully I'll be able to have more. Usually at the beginning of the year, sinking funds are our top priority. We want to fill up the sinking funds. We want to make sure that we have money for what we need for the whole year before we say, let's put things into a savings account that we're not going to touch for 1 to 2 years. So that is how we budget for our family here with our variable income. So my husband does work a lot of overtime, and our income is very variable, and it was just easy for me to say, okay, what's the bare minimum that we need, budget for that, and then everything else feels like a bonus. It feels like you have more than what you actually have. And I'd rather be in that place than in the opposite place of always feeling like I don't have enough money and things are too tight. So I hope that gives you a good insight into how we set up our budget, what this next year is going to look like. Always things change, things happen, and some of these things, if money really does become tight, we can always cancel these things. We can always not put as much into our sinking funds and not have a vacation or not do big birthday parties or Christmas. We have room where we can cut down, and that's what I like to feel. I like to feel that there's room in my budget, not that I'm always waiting for the next penny to come into my bank account to pay for groceries or to pay for gas and the basic stuff. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments down below. I would be more than happy to answer them. Well guys, I hope this next new year, God will bless you and your family, and you will have an abundance of everything that you may need or even want. God bless.